Hello, this is Sherlock, and about a month ago I said on stream that I wanted to learn how to draw. So this video is the first entry on my journey to learn how to draw. This is 1 month of practice. I have not gotten into anything complex. This month has been focusing on fundamentals, so lines, shapes, forms, and perspective. You will see a little bit of everything here. This is all a compacted version of my daily practice, so we can move on, but it should help illustrate what I have been doing. I usually start doing circles. I try to keep them about the same size, making them as round as I can, but obviously it's not that easy. But the important thing for me right now is getting the size right, because that will be very helpful when I go into making full drawings for body proportions, because you have males that are about 8 heads big, and then you have females that are about 7 head bigs or 7.5 depending on the height. Then I do lines, I do straight lines, vertical and horizontal. I try to keep them as straight as I can and without touching and very close. After I feel a couple layers of this, I move on. And I start doing shapes. I start doing some ellipses in all directions. For example, left, right, vertical, horizontal. I do about 3 layers of each angle, so 3 layers of ellipses to the right, 3 layers of ellipses to the left, 3 vertical ellipses, 3 layers of horizontal ellipses. And after that I move into 3D shapes. 3D shapes, what I want to do is draw them from different angles, so I will be marking the faces that are showing. And do not worry if your lines are too long, you can erase the excess. What is important is that you manage to draw the angle you wanna show. For example, I started showing the right face, the top face and the front face. Then I did a second one showing the left, the front and the top. And this one is more of a top view, so the top is the more prominent face and the sides are smaller. This is going to be very useful when you draw a body from a different angle. Maybe it's lying down, maybe it's 3/4 view from a side, maybe from the other. Then I go and do cylinders. These cylinders I try to keep them as identical as possible because it will be useful for proportions. For example, when I do an arm or the legs, they have to be the same size, otherwise it will look weird. Of course, I'm not very good at it yet, but practice makes perfect. So you want to do your cylinders. This is a very important form because a lot of parts of the body use cylinders, and I'm not very good at them yet, but one step at a time, I'll get there for sure. Then I do more circles, but this time around I will be marking them as if there were faces looking in a certain direction or from a certain angle. For example, that is looking up, that is looking maybe down in that angle. I don't usually add those circles for the eyes. This is just practice for dividing this sphere in a way that looks like it has direction. After that I do spheres, but I erase a part and they become half spheres like a bowl. This is for practice of 3D shapes, 3D forms. It's good, for example, when you wanna draw objects or maybe a certain body part that is showing more prominently. Just knowing how these shapes look from a certain angle, it's very useful. And I know this sounds like I'm making a tutorial for something that I'm not really an expert on. I'm just explaining why I've been doing these exercises and like the things that the tutorials and the courses I've been watching say. So I'm trying to transmit the knowledge I have acquired to you, even if I'm not practically good at it. Then I do different faces, but just very basic sketches, just to know like where things would be placed from an angle. For example, there you can see that's the shape of the chin, you have the ear, the neck would be something like that because it's coming from under the chin, so I make the line behind the chin line, and it has a little bit of an incline. Then I do a different angle, this time is looking full up, so the neck is like straight under the head, and then you have your chin there, your ear, the mouth, the nose. Like I'm trying to place things at how they should be, not fantastic, the proportions are probably not right, but it's a start. Then I do skeletons. These skeletons are very simple in nature. They are just for practicing perception of depth. I realized that my perception of depth is horrible. So I do these skeletons to see, okay, this is maybe I'm looking to this at this body from the back. Maybe this part of the face is showing. Maybe like this would be the hips. Here would be like the legs. I'm moving this around a little bit just to get a better angle, just to add some more detail. But again, I usually do not add this much detail to it. It's just skeletons that I do. But I wanted to illustrate better what kind of practice I'm trying to get from this. Maybe that's like more of a side view or like a 3/4 view. And this shape at the beginning for me was very hard to interpret and say, okay, where are the legs coming from? Where is the hips? How is this connected? All of this stuff, the more you do it, the more you start understanding it. And for me, it was really complicated to know, like, okay, how is this line connected, or how is this shape made? How do I do this? It felt like hell because my depth perception is so bad. But the more I practice, the better it got, even though I'm still fairly bad at it, but I think I have improved a lot. Then what I do is I make basic skeletons of different like poses. Maybe in this case I'm doing a drawing where the character, we are looking just full from the back, so the hair would be like covering the back of the head. You have like the hips maybe in that zone. Sometimes I add the lines for where the butt would be first, so it gives me more of a guideline for the hips. Yeah, like the hips have to connect with the torso. Again, proportions is still not my strong suit, so draw through. Remember, drawing through is very important. It will help you get a sense of depth, sense of where things are. Obviously, like that leg is very badly done in general. That's, again, I'm still not able to make a complex drawing. I'm just trying to add some more detail to better illustrate the understanding and the knowledge I have gained, even though I'm not capable of making something good. But it's important to practice, even if you think that what you're doing is horrible. Just keep doing it. The more you do it, the more you will improve. And draw very loosely, draw fast. Do not waste too much time, because the more you draw, the better it is. In the end, if you waste 2 hours on a drawing that you will not be satisfied, you will not progress. But if you spend a maximum of 5 minutes, maybe, I put a timer to myself, 5 minutes, and that's the max I spent on a drawing, because I know I cannot make a good drawing. So I do 5 minutes, so I can do many drawings, and I can understand, okay, the body, it's coming in this direction, so the boxes that make this body are on these angles, and I just try to put the shapes together and keep the proportions. Obviously, right now, it's hard to illustrate. I don't want to have trouble with YouTube, but what I usually do in this phase is that I import a couple images for reference and I draw over them, but I do not focus on the details or anything. I'm just trying to draw the shapes that make up that body and keep the proportions and keep like a decent structure that you can see it and you see, okay, this is a skeleton of a body, or these are the shapes that make a body. And it's really good to learn how to interpret these shapes. I also do some practice drawing specific parts. For example, if I want to learn how to draw eyes, I just make an eye isolated from everything else so I can focus on it, learn the details. But again, just at this point I'm focusing on the basics, not doing anything too complex, just understanding, okay, the eye is looking in that direction, so it should look like this. Maybe I can add the eyelids, maybe I can add some details in the eye, maybe some shadows, but I'm not trying to make like the most beautiful eye. I'm just trying to understand how would it look if it was in this angle, or how would it look if I wanted to make it look like maybe stylized in a way or in another, or if it was an adult eye compared to a kid eye. Just very focus on learning, focus on understanding, not on detail, not on beauty, just getting the fundamentals down. That has been my goal, get fundamentals down. I will not show you all of the stuff I've done, like hands, legs, in all the individual parts, because that would take too long. Another thing that has helped me a lot has been, for example, using Blue Archive characters like Bunny Choki and Hibiki as models. Like I take the sprites in game, I import them to Clip Studio Paint, and I trace over them. I trace the shapes. And Bunny Choki and Hibiki have been specifically very useful because the angles in which their sprites are have helped me understand a lot of how certain poses work, and I will show you that later. But for now, like, one thing I've noticed is the more I trace drawings, different drawings, the more I come to understand how the body is made. And at the beginning, when I saw a 3/4 body like the shape I've made now, I was like, okay, how is that connected? How does that works? And drawing over has also been really important. You learn so much by drawing over, because sometimes you see an arm that you can see only half, and you imagine, okay, you say, okay, I'll draw the arm coming this way, but this half is not in view. But you still need to draw the half that is not in view. And especially if you're doing digital, you can fix it later. You can erase, or maybe put it on a lower layer so it's under what you want, it's hiding under the part you want to hide it. But always draw over, because sometimes you will imagine, okay, the arm is coming this way, so and you don't draw that half, and then if you were to draw that half, it would look horrible, it would look out of place, out of proportion. So drawing through is something that is really, really important, and all the guides and tutorials I've been following always tell draw through, especially when you're learning. Drawing through is just so important. in this angle, which is opposite to the one I was doing before, but also it's on an incline. And for example, here the character is like maybe crouching or has like half of the body in a way or another. Like it will all depend on your creativity. This is obviously not keeping any proportions in mind. Like this is really an ugly drawing, but I'm just adding lines because I cannot draw properly, but I'm adding these lines to illustrate what I have been doing. I remember also when I started to try to learn this angle in particular, which is the character like lying half down, like maybe making like a matrix dodge. Like this incline was so complicated for me to understand because I couldn't understand how the hips and the torso were connected, and even now I struggle with it quite a bit, but I think that I'm finally starting to get how they are connected. But I don't know, if you wanna have reference material, just look at the games you play. Maybe you play Blue Archive, you play Azur Lane, you play, I don't know, Genshin Impact. Take screenshots, look at the characters. They are anime characters, so they are 2D in the end, and you can use those as reference. Nothing is too good for you to use as a reference. And do not be afraid to make an ugly drawing. Making ugly drawings is part of the process. I know because I'm still doing them, and I will do them for a long time. Here I'm drawing a face, maybe with a little bit more detail. It's not proportionate at all, like those eyes are not well placed. It looks very psychopathic, but the nose is always where the circle ends. You have your ear that is usually the top of the ear lines up with the eyebrows, and the bottom of the ear should line up with the tip of the nose. Those are like little tricks you can use to guide yourself. I gave it a little bit of an elf ear there to this very psychopathic looking face. Very simple, very ugly. When you add hair, use the center line when you divide the sphere as your vanishing point, maybe. I don't know if no, that's not the correct term, but use it as your base. All the hair should come to that place so it doesn't look like it's a balding head. Here I'm adding just a little bit of a body, a bit of detail, just for the fun of it. It's also good practice just to do it. So here I will be trying to draw from memory, which is gonna be horrible, but I will be trying to draw from memory Bunny Toki. It's not the full drawing, is just showing how Bunny Toki helped me understand these angles, like this type of face, how the body comes, where to place the eyes, stuff like that. It's not going to be amazing, but this is part of the learning process, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. I think I have tried this drawing like from memory a couple times, not too many, but tracing it, just tracing the shapes and understanding it many times. Probably 20 out of the 30 days I've been tracing this sprite to understand, because at the beginning, like this shape was so hard for me to understand, like how is this connected, and I could not understand why, for example, like the leotard is coming into this place, or like the leg, why does it look like that, all that stuff. Just tracing it over and over and over and over, you start getting a feel for the lines and getting how everything goes together. All of this process is a lot harder than it needs to be because of the tools I'm using. My Wacom doesn't have a screen, so I cannot see my hands moving. I can only see what I'm doing once I join it on the screen, and it feels really unnatural to do it that way. When I do it traditionally, I can see my hand on the paper, I can see where I'm placed the tip of the pen, what I'm connecting, what I'm not connecting. So it's a lot harder on the Wacom, and my Wacom is also not working perfectly now. So sometimes the pressure sensitivity goes to hell and everything just looks wrong. Here I'm doing a very simple mockup of Hibiki, which also helped me understand this sitting angle. It was really complicated, connecting the torso with the hips. I just could not get it, like how do they go together? And just tracing it over and over helped me so much. And obviously this has no details, it's just a very quick sketch to show what have I learned by tracing the shapes during this month. I could not draw to save my life right now, but it's been so fun. It's been really fun, and I have struggled with motivation from time to time. You know, it's normal. You see that you are doing this every day and you maybe don't see too much progress. I don't see much progress, but it's fine. Like, it's part of the process. If you keep at it, you'll get it. And I hope that maybe in 3 months, 4 months, at some point I will be able to do really good drawings, even if it takes a long time. So just push yourself to it, as I've done, and you will get it. But with that said, and I know this was not maybe what you were expecting if you watched the stream that time. Maybe you expected me to do something more. But for now, that's what I can do. One thing I want to discuss before we finish this video is some changes that the channel will undergo through. So let me... how can I explain this? Okay, so starting on the 9th of December, my life will get a little bit more busy. So Blue Archive is still top priority. However, first impressions and guides will have delays because usually the patch comes out at a time that I will not be longer available to. So I will not be able to log into the game, record, translate. If I have to do first impressions, I will not be able to do it as the update comes out, but I will still be doing them, and I hope you guys keep watching them. However, reviews for the global server, so Ep1, they should remain the same, because I can pre-record those and pre-upload those, so they should not fade into delays. They should not experience any delays, but it will all depend, because I will be a lot more busy, so I don't know if I will have the time to pre-record them anyways. So be aware that delays will happen. Hopefully the reviews will not have any delays, but there is a chance for the reviews to have delays. Also, I plan to upload more draw in progress, ideally one per month. I plan to do girls frontline to Exilum videos, but these will be on a trial period. I will see if I like the game, if you guys like the game. I plan to cover this game, but because I will not be able to chase the news like I do with Blue Archive, and I will not be able to chase news with Blue Archive, these videos will also come when I can make them. I also want to play PoE 2 on the channel. This is more like a travel log, if you want to put it like that. Travel log style videos in which I document my progress through PoE 2 without the help of any guides, trying to see if the efforts of the devs really paid out in making the game more approachable for new players and more understandable, and maybe I can get into more in-depth stuff. I want to actually learn the game, because I'm a big PoE fan. I played PoE 1. I am really bad at it, but I did really enjoy it, and I was following guides and doing all that stuff, but I never really learned the game. I feel like without a guide, I understand, when I read a guide I understand why they do what they do and why the things they do work, but if I try to do it myself, if I try to make a build myself or stuff like that, it never worked out for me. So I want to see if PoE 2 unguided could be better for me. And another thing I want to do is upload the stream clips, so you will see some stream clips on the channel. I don't know with what cadence. All of this, I don't know the cadence for this, but I want to start doing this. And I will also start playing some retro games. Maybe just the ones I play on the stream, I upload the playthroughs. And lastly, and maybe the most important part, I will be streaming 2 days now. Oops. 2 days, which are Saturdays, 4 to 6 p.m. so 2 hours, and Sundays always 4 to 6 p.m. 2 hours. Saturdays we'll usually do Blue Archive. BA will be priority for Saturdays, and if there is raids or events going on Blue Archive, the first part of the stream or maybe the whole stream will be Blue Archive. Sundays will be media share. Or retro games. Or community. I don't know how to write community. Wait, I forgot how to write community. Communities with like that maybe. I don't know. I just cannot remember, but React. Okay. React. So you guys can suggest stuff for me to react. No, with no politics. No politics. And no drama. The idea is just to have fun, maybe watch trailers together, see some news, gaming news, but nothing political, nothing, no drama. I want the channel and the stream to be a place to disconnect from everyday stupidity. I enjoy streaming, I enjoy making the videos, but right now life is being a little bit of a bitch and things are getting harder. Time is on a prime, so I want to do more variety content on the channel so I can keep up with it without having to be chasing the news, without feeling like I'm falling behind the content. Just have some peace of mind in that sense. And I hope you guys will join me in this journey in which I try to do more fun content, better content. And who knows, maybe one day, if enough of you join me in this journey, I will be able to do this for a living, which, to be fair, I do not expect to happen. But it would be really cool. But with that said, guys, that's all for this video. It's been a month of me trying to learn how to draw, and the progress has not been amazing, but I'm not giving up, and I hope you don't give up on me either. So with that said, the only thing for me left to say is I'll see you next time.